This is K9WLW. I am doing a short demonstration on cross-moding with your Openspot 2. I ran into an amateur radio operator online who wanted to know how to connect his Openspot 2 from his DMR radio over to an NXDN reflector. So I thought I would do a short demonstration, hopefully to be able to show him and anyone else who might be interested in doing this. This is a rather off the beaten path process, but since I was asked, I thought I would do my best to demonstrate. On my tablet here, I have my Openspot 2 up and running. I have it in the null connector, connected to null, and I've gone to the quick setup screen. When you connect to null and either refresh the browser and then or tap the QS button on the bottom right part of the screen, that is your quick setup menu. Now to start with, I am going to first go into NXDN. Even though it says please select the type of radio, I don't have an NXDN radio, but first we're going to set up NXDN. So I tap on NXDN, and of course it will want you to put your frequency. Okay, you have a particular frequency that you set for your hotspot. Whenever you go to another mode, if you've never set it up before, you will have to also put that frequency in. I've already done that here, so we won't have to do that. Below that, radio access number, or RAN. That is, I guess, sort of the NXDN version of a CTCSS code, if you will. If you're on an NXDN radio and you're using NXDN repeaters, different repeaters have a different RAN code. But for the purposes of your hotspot, you want to leave that as 0. And then below that, you have please select the NXDN network server type to continue. Now, you can connect to NXDN reflectors, or you can connect over to FCS reflectors, YSF, Brandmeister, DMR Plus, Mark, TGIF, XLX. So an NXDN radio couldn't cross mode to the other modes you see here, but we're going to set up NXDN. So I'm going to tap on NXDN Reflector. And initially, it gives you a quick setup where you put in your call sign. And it'll allow you to choose NXDN reflectors. So I'm going to go to the, bear with me a moment here, I only have my cell phone as a camera. You can choose which NXDN reflector you want to connect with. My hope is to connect to one where there'll be some traffic, and that can be kind of a challenge because not all the NXDN reflectors have much traffic. There is one called Super FREQ 420. That's a DMR talk group that's on the TGIF DMR talk network, and sometimes there's some chatter in there. And most likely those folks will be in DMR, but this is an NXDN reflector that connects to that group through the NXDN network. So I'm going to probably pick that one and hope that we can make a contact. So I'm going to tap on Super Freak 420. And then I'm going to hit connect. Okay. And you'll see it says that I've changed my active connector. I'm connected to an NXDN reflector. My frequency, receive and transmit's the same. The modem mode is NXDN. The server would be the Super Freak 420, etc. Call sign. Okay, now this applies to you if you're using an NXDN radio. It says make sure you send your calls to talk group 420. Otherwise, the server will ignore them. So if you were actually using an NXDN radio right now with this setup, you would program a talk group of 420 in your radio when you key up in order for you to be heard. Okay, now that doesn't necessarily apply to you here because remember, you're cross-moding here in a moment. Okay, so we have now connected to the NXDN Reflector, but we are still in NXDN mode. That's not going to help you in hearing this on your DMR radio. Now that you've made the connection, we can switch the modem mode. So if we go to the modem mode menu, you have other options that become available. I am going to look for, I'm having a hard time seeing this, DMR. So I'm going to tap on DMR, make sure it's loaded, and then I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and hit save. So now,
Openspot connected to NXDN Reflector 420.
now you can hear the audio come out the DMR radio. So we're still connected to an NXDN Reflector. The modem mode, or the mode coming out of the hotspot, is in DMR mode, so that we can hear and transmit into the hotspot from your DMR radio. So all we did after we set it up was switch the modem mode over to DMR. Now, on the DMR radio, in cross mode, you want to use talk group 9. Whenever you cross mode from a DMR radio through Openspot 2, you want to use talk group 9. And I would probably recommend using your radio in promiscuous mode so that you will hear anything coming out of it, even if the talk group is different. Now I'm connected. I have talk group 9. I have the frequency dialed up on the Anytone. I'm going to try and give a shout and see if anyone can hear me. This is K9WLW in Tampa, Florida, testing. Does anyone copy me in this reflector?
Yes, and your audio is way.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm actually cross-moding and I'm trying to do a demonstration video. I'm on a DMR radio and I'm cross-moding through NXDN. So I backed off the mic and hopefully that's better. Again, this is K9WLW in Tampa, Florida. I hope that's better.
Yeah, it's a little bit better. If you're using an Anytone, put the mic gain to 1 and make sure enhanced audio is turned off. An NXDN link on this talk group, and yeah, you're sounding good. I'm on actually YSF. I'm at Yaesu FT100DR mobile radio.
Okay, you're sounding really good on my end. If you could please repeat, because I am recording and I want the other... I had a ham radio operator ask about how to set up the Openspot 2 to cross mode, and I think that information you just told me about the audio setting on the Anytone would be very applicable to repeat so that he will get this again in the video. So if you wouldn't mind repeating that one more time, so that that might be something that the other amateur radio operator who inquired about this would like to know again, and I certainly would like to hear it again as well.
Okay, no problem at all. Are you going to post this video on YouTube? And please send me a link. And the information for the Anytone, Anytone radio, whether it's mobile, 878, 868, is to be set to 1, the lowest setting, and enhanced audio turned off. And it's on default, but some people turn it on not really knowing what it is. So hopefully that helps. My name is Jimmy, by the way, and I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado. N7 VDR, and I'm on using System Fusion right now.
Okay, well, fine business. Yeah, the channel on YouTube is K9WLW Radio. K9WLW Radio. I just have a few how-to videos, particularly for D-Star and a little bit of Openspot too, but I'm starting to kind of expand some of the how-to. And I ran into a question asking specifically about the cross mode, so I thought I would at least address that for this one ham operator that inquired. So again, I cannot thank you enough for coming back to me. I wanted to make sure I went into a talk group that I got a response, because the NXDN reflectors are kind of not busy, shall we say. So I'm glad that I found one that I can connect to that had other modes where there were other stations that could reply. And again, the name here is Frank, and the call here is K9WLW, and I'm in Tampa, Florida.
Okay, Frank, fine business. Yeah, this has got, this particular talk group is linked to DMR via talk group 420 on the TGIF network. And we have a P25 link, NXDN, and System Fusion, YSF, the AC System Fusion. So the only thing that we don't have is D-Star. But that might be a possibility in the future. Another NXDN room that, or talk group that you might want to try if you search through the list would be the Colorado HD 31088. There's usually somebody listening there too. And that's another multi-protocol group that I helped put together.
Okay, well, I sure appreciate that information, and I can actually show a transition from the browser of the Openspot to how one can transition from one NXDN reflector to another. There's a couple of quirks about it that are specific to the Openspot 2 that wouldn't necessarily apply to a Pi-Star type hotspot, but it is very doable. But anyway, I appreciate that very much, and I will back out of here so I can conclude the video. And again, if you want to witness a video, it's at K9WLW Radio on YouTube. With that, I'm going to say 73s so I can wrap this video up and hopefully have my answer for the gentleman who had the query. So 73s, this is K9WLW in Tampa, Florida.
All right, Frank. Glad I could help. And, yeah, come back again. Welcome to the talk group. Like I said, it's DMR, System Fusion, P25, and NXDN. So you can get into it a bunch of different ways. Good group of people here. We get kind of crazy sometimes, and that might rub some people the wrong way, but it's a bunch of good people here. So welcome back. Welcome to the talk group, and come back if you want to. 73 from N7 VDR, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Okay, well, thanks for that information. Yeah, I've seen it on DMR's TGIF network. I didn't realize you had a Fusion link too, so I'll look that up. I have a Fusion radio as well, so, and of course I have DMR, which I'm talking on, so it'll of course probably be more appropriate or work maybe a little better with the audio if I just go one of the direct routes rather than one mode cross mode to another. So, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. 73s. This is K9WLW Clear.
Okay, Frank. Yeah, that room on Fusion, if you're using Pi-Star, it's real easy to find. It's like the 10th one down from the top of the list. So you put your radio into wire rec mode and do a search for all, and the list will come up, and we're 10th one down. It's a room number 420. N7 VDR.
Okay, appreciate that very much. N7 VDR. This is K9WLW Clear. Well, there you have it. We successfully connected to a
I invited Frank there in Florida. Jimmy beat me to the trigger there just by a hair. I was cleaning out the truck and installing my new 878 in there. I was going to yell at you, but Jimmy was pretty quick on the trigger.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, come back. Hopefully get to meet you later.
So you never know who you're going to run into when you do these strange crossovers. Sounds like a friendly bunch of guys. Anyway, I will get back to the video. To change reflectors in the NXDN world from your cross mode, you simply go to the server, and there is a little quirk that you want to be aware of. I'm going to see if I can find that Colorado group that he was talking about. There it is, Colorado HD 31088. And, oops. Trying to do two things at once here. Let me reset that again to Colorado. I missed it. Okay, I loaded it up. Now, when you hit the save button down at the bottom, sometimes it isn't the quickest transition in the NXDN cross mode world, and I probably am going to get the timeout. I don't know why this does this a lot. Yep. Couldn't save NXDN Reflector timeout, and the thing still keeps spinning around. And unfortunately, the hotspot sometimes goes offline. So it's not the friendliest mode to switch around with a DMR. It works a lot more smoothly, shall we say, if you're using a C4 FM radio, at least from my own experience. But your request was specific to using DMR. And I am going to see if I can get this reset here, because it is now... I might have actually been booted off here. Hold on. Okay, let me go back to connectors. And let me see if I can go back to the Colorado. Oh, here we go. It now finally quit timing out. But anytime you change reflectors on the browser in NXDN, when you're cross-moding, you get this warning. Warning, the always use default cross-mode destination ID setting is enabled, and the default cross-mode destination ID is different than the server's talk group ID of 31088. So in other words, we used another reflector, we switched one, and every time you switch, this little warning comes up. So what you're required to do to complete the transition is, again, we're wanting to jump over to 31088. You want to disable or change these settings on the settings page, or click here. So if you click here, a little pop-up comes up. Do you really want to change the always used destination ID in an NXDN connector cross mode to 31088? Well, because we're wanting to go there, you hit yes or change. So I tap on that, and I believe we are good. But unfortunately, you have to do that every time you change reflectors in cross mode on NXDN with Openspot 2. So, and it doesn't announce very well that you've connected anywhere. Let me see that if I'm connected there or not. This is K9WLW testing a NXDN cross mode. Does anybody copy? Probably help if I turn the radio volume on. This is K9WLW testing NXDN cross mode. Does anybody copy? Apparently nobody there. But you'll notice on the menu it says I'm on local talk group 9, which is what you always use for cross mode from your DMR radio. And it says group DMR voice call from modem sent as an NXDN group call to 31088. That's source or SRC 729. 729 is my NXDN ID number. So if you go to radioid.net, you can get you can also get an NXDN ID number. So, and then it'll recognize you on the NXDN network as that ID number. I don't think you have to have the ID number in order to operate there, but if you have an NXDN radio, I think you do. But cross-moding, you can do it without. But I just figured I'd add one, and I subscribed on the radioid.net. Anyway, that is the video. I hope that that was clear enough to you as to how you can cross-mode your DMR radio over to NXDN. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, or you can email me at cq2meters@yahoo.com. That's cq2meters@yahoo.com. This is K9WLW 73s.